To bring in right now Iowa Senator Joni Ernst. Senator, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me. Great to be with you.
So who do you think will be the standout in Iowa tonight?
Oh, my gosh. Well, we've got so many great candidates, but of course, not having one of our candidates there, it gives everybody else a great opportunity to state what their policy positions are.
Yeah, I mean, I know that you said you're not ready to endorse anybody, but you've had some very nice comments about Marco Rubio recently in terms of his commitment to destroy ISIS and in terms of him being near and dear to my heart. Are you considering perhaps a vice presidential position with Marco Rubio? Should he get the nomination?
No, I'm not pursuing that. I do think we have great candidates all across the board, and every one of our candidates, I want to make sure I state this, every one of our candidates has a great position when it comes to national defense, much better than anyone we have seen on the other ticket.
Senator,
I think we're going to do very well.
Here's Andy Bush.
Yeah, I've got a question for you. For Iowa, you know, if you look at the economic plans of the top three candidates, or really just overall, what do you want to see for Iowa? What would really make you feel great about a candidate with something that they're doing on an economic plan that's going to help Iowa?
Well, I think Iowa has really set the standard. We do have a very low unemployment rate there, a lot of job growth and job expansion. So what we're looking for is a plan that would allow for less rules and regulations so that our businesses can further develop in Iowa, allow them to expand, less government interference, and of course, low taxes is always a great way to stimulate growth. That's what we need to look for across the board in those candidates.
And here's Bob Nardali, Senator.
And so, Senator, with that as a backdrop, who's the best candidate to meet those requirements?
Well, again, I'm not going to pick winners or losers here. Still have a lot of horses in the race, but I think that, again, if you look across the board, all of them have put forward pretty good plans. I'm not going to state who I think would be best. I don't want to dissuade Iowa voters from going out to the caucuses on Monday evening. I want to make sure they are looking at policies and deciding who is fitting their needs and their values.
Who has the best GDP plan for us to get out of this low and slow growth? You know, we always have this aspiration of 3.5%, and we end up somewhere well below that, Senator.
Well, I think if you look at those that have served in governmental roles, whether it was a governor or as a senator, they have all dealt with those types of plans. And so I would look to those that have experience in those areas and have worked with governments, and those that have successful career tracks. So I would say start there, and we'll see what they come up with tonight.
I think it's a great point to make, because many on the stage have the experience and the backdrop to really make a difference. Let me ask you, you just really painted a picture of a pretty good economy in Iowa in terms of the unemployment situation, in terms of growth there. What do you think then is most important to Iowa voters? What do you hear from consumers and constituents in the state that they're most worried about?
There are two very big issues that we see always come to the surface. So the first always is national defense. So Iowa is a great export state. So not only do they look at the economy, but they're looking at, is there world stability in those areas that we are doing trade with? So they'll look at national defense. They want to know that they are protected. Second is jobs and economy, whether it's internationally or domestically, and how the economy will impact their everyday lives. So those are the top issues. I know those were important in my race in 2014. Those are still very important as we move forward to 2016. And we need a candidate that has policy behind their words. So again, I encourage those Iowa voters to take a very close look at what policies are being presented, and does that reflect the Iowa way of life? Is that what they are looking for in a candidate?
Yeah, it's a really important point, because here we are in an economy that, yes, domestically we're seeing some strength, certainly improvement when you look at the jobs numbers, but it's the international story that really keeps capping the ability to grow. And the export part of that story is reflecting that. Exports are down on a national level. So what do you propose in terms of, you know, fighting back on automation? I mean, technology has displaced workers. What do you propose in terms of growing in the face of this weakness that we're seeing from multinationals?
Well, I think as we look at the international scale and what needs to be done here in the United States, as well as Iowa in specifically, is take a look at what our future is going to bring. You mentioned technology. It is displacing workers. We still need those workers, and we need more workers in the technology field. So we're working on that in Iowa. We're expanding technology, directing our young students into those types of area. So Iowa is a great cross-section of America. We have a great agricultural base. We have a great manufacturing base.
Right.
But we're also moving forward in technology, and that's where we need to go.
Really important point. Anastasia, you want to jump in here? Here's Anastasia Amoroso from J.P. Morgan, because this is exactly what the issues are for the economy. Iowa is a great picture to show what's going on in terms of the multinational and the weakness coming from the global economy.
Yes, absolutely. Key issue for voters, but I guess I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier, is that people who have the experience to fix this are governors or senators, but those are all the same people that are also defined by the voters as the establishment, and this campaign has been all about the anti-establishment. How do you solve that? How can you bring experience and still appeal to the voters?
Well, I think you can bring experience, but you need to look for those that are really fighting for what we desire to see as Republicans, as a party, and that is job growth. So who has a great track record? Maybe it's in their state, maybe it's in the Senate, with their ideas and their policies, and understanding that we haven't had that majority in the past. And so who has been on the forefront of that? Who has really tried to move their ideas forward? So, you know, they may be considered established by some, but again, I think we need to look at them individually and take a look at their policies and what have they really worked on. You know, I just want to push back. I think we've got all great candidates across the board. We want to see them be successful. We want absolutely the best nominee we can come up with, and of course, our nominees are going to be far better than what we're seeing from the left.
Is it going to be very different without Donald Trump on that stage tonight, Senator?
It will be very different. It will be different, and every candidate will make a choice on whether they want to show up or not. But this is the last opportunity that our candidates have to talk to the Iowa people and convince them that their policy is right. So I think that's a lost opportunity. But again, they'll take a look at policies. They'll turn out to the caucuses on Monday night, and we'll see what the Iowa voters do.
Senator, busy couple days for you. Good luck with everything. We'll see you soon.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.